people a second to get on. Okay. We'll give everybody a second to get on. All right. Peace, you guys. Welcome to Just Us Jenkins. If you are seeing me for the first time, I'm Jamillah, stay-at-home homeschooling mama of 3 beautiful babies. I'm also a certified Reiki master, lineage healer, generational curse breaker, spirit whisperer, and owner of healingmama.com. That's healing without the G, baby. Okay. Tonight, okay, by the grace of the gods, okay, we rescheduled. And we are here tonight with the beautiful Mar to the Queen, okay, master teacher.
Okay. Hey.
And we're talking about triggers, okay? Before we get into tonight's topic, just want to remind you guys, usually the podcast is every Friday, 6:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, okay? Oracle readings on Sundays, and then I don't really have any like special discounted offerings this month, but shop your girl's website. Okay, get you a reading, get you some Reiki, get you some things. Okay, but without further ado, okay, Miss Quee, you go ahead and introduce yourself when you're ready, boo.
Hi, my name is Marquisia. I go by Mar to the Queen. I am a life coach, a healer, and a recording artist for conscious music. And so that is me. And like she said, today we'll be talking about triggers. And before we get started, I just want everybody to, give a shout out to Jamillah, Miss Jamillah, because she has been doing her thing. She is so consistent, being a stay-at-home mom, wearing so many hats, and still being able to do her business and introduce new things to her business. It is very admirable, and I love the fact that she's been able to do this, and I'm able to learn from her and work with her as well. So thank you, Miss Jamillah.
Thank you, Queen. Thanks, Jarvis. Jarvis said, "Hey, ladies, sound is loud and clear, baby. LOL. Thank you, babe." Queen, I appreciate you so much. Thank you, and gratitude for you being back on, baby. Okay, because girl, the moon cycle was cycling, and your girl almost didn't make it, but I could not be with my boo today. Okay.
Be like sometime.
All right, you guys. So triggers, you all. So what are triggers? Triggers reflect
Okay.
our pain. How else can we explain it, Quee?
Okay, so what I did is I actually took down a definition of triggers. Okay, and it says, what are triggers? A trigger is a stimulus that causes a reaction, and in mental health, it can refer to something that can worsen or can cause symptoms. Triggers can be internal or external, and they include things such as people, objects, memories, songs, odors, or even colors. So they can be obvious or less clear, and they can cause a sudden emotional response that's disproportionate to the actual stimuli. Okay, so there's been times where you can be somewhere and you smell something that it reminds you of something. A trigger doesn't always have to be bad, because sometimes you're triggered and it's a positive thing, and sometimes you're triggered and it's a negative thing. But they do come from past traumas. And then just past the memories will be the positive. But we're here to talk about some of the negative ones, because we know the positives.
Yeah, we healing, so we definitely want to get to the root cause of things, because I know, just like we said, sometimes I'll be doing something, I'll be cleaning, and I like get a whiff of something, and all of a sudden it takes me back to like a memory in my childhood, and I'm like, oh hell no. So, yeah. What are some other triggers? They can be caused by anger, shame, jealousy, judgment, depression, feeling overwhelmed, exhausted, and disassociation. Is that the word?
Yeah.
Disassociation. Okay.
And so, and then some of the other type of triggers would be like an anniversary of a significant date that can trigger you, something you saw on TV that reminds you of an event, a relationship issues or family conflict, a physical felt sense, an emotion, the news, a
Yeah.
location, a sound or a smell. It could trigger the memory, like you were just saying. A memory itself,
Mhm.
relationships ending, a certain time of day, meetings or socializing, events at work, anything you were uh, anything you were feeling overwhelmed about, healthcare, being isolated, feeling judged or ridiculed, and financial issues.
Mhm. Oh, baby, that's a
Yeah,
big one.
yeah.
Mm, that is a big one.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Let's get into some of them. Um, Anger. When we're triggered by anger, when things make us angry, what that mean?
Um, what do you mean? What does it mean when we're
So
triggered
just
by anger?
my little notes that I took, like when we get triggered by something and our automatic kind of reaction or the build up to angry, it tells us that our fundamental needs have been
Mm-hmm.
ignored.
Okay. Yes. Okay. I would agree with that. And that you weren't also with anger, I can see that you weren't able to express it before. You never really learned how to express that anger.
Yes.
A lot of times when we get angry, we're not expressing, and that has to do with the emotional feelings you'll feel. Um, Sudden fear, panic, anger, like you said, sadness, feeling overwhelmed, out of control, abandoned, or helpless. Now, those are some of the symptoms that you'll feel when you experience a trigger. So,
Mhm.
yes, anger is definitely one of them.
Right.
That's definitely.
And you have to feel it, y'all, to heal it. So if things are triggering you and sparking these types of emotions, that is our soul telling us that we need to, address these behaviors, address these past traumas and dramas so we can heal it to move on to the next stages of our life.
Yes, I agree. I agree. So, do you want me to I can go over I jotted down some of the triggers, the symptoms of triggers, because you got physical symptoms, you got emotional symptoms, which I just named, and then you got behavioral changes that you experience
Yeah.
when you are triggered. So, some of the
Yes, mom.
physical symptoms would be a racing heart, rapid breathing, shaking, sweating,
Mm,
clenching your teeth or your fist, feeling hot or flushed, or feeling cold and unmoving. And
mm,
then some of the behavioral changes are flashbacks, an urge to run away or fight. So that's fight or flight,
mm-hmm.
freezing, dissociation, which I think you were saying something about that earlier, isolating yourself or becoming argumentative, shutting down emotionally, or becoming physically aggressive. And
Mm-hmm.
so, have you had any of those symptoms? Have you ever experienced some of those symptoms before?
Oh, girl. How much time do we have? How long the therapy session gonna be?
Girl.
Okay. Yes. I even remember as a child when I was triggered, I would ball my hands up. I would ball my hands up so hard that I would break my fingernails.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that's how people could tell that I was mad. Like, especially, when it came to like my family, they're like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
Jamilah's mad. Look at the way she's balling up her fist. But yeah.
Mm-hmm. Ooh.
Hmm. The
They was
heart
paying attention,
racing.
wasn't it?
Huh?
Yeah. I said, dang, they was paying attention, wasn't
Yeah.
it? You was
It
mad.
was like, ooh, Jamila's mad. I was. Okay.
Ooh, you
And the
was
heart
mad.
racing, like heart palpitations. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yes. I experienced that, the racing heart, the shaking. Ooh, the shaking when somebody make you mad enough and you start shaking. And I'm like, ooh, I
Baby.
don't
Yeah.
even want to. Oh no, I don't want
Mm,
nobody to even know I'm this mad. I got to control this anger because this is too much. So
Yeah.
yes.
I actually experienced that. I would probably say like a month ago. We had a little
Mm-hmm.
situation, and
Mm.
even though I was controlled and I was speaking my truth and things like that, but after things were said and done, I was just like, "Ugh." Yes.
Oh, yes, ma'am. The feeling unmoved, we know that fight or flight where you kind of get immovable. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I've felt that before where I freeze. I felt that before where I just feel I can feel something and I'm triggered. And it's like, I don't feel like, I just feel like speaking and saying something. You know how you can feel the energy of something that triggers you. And you don't necessarily, you can't say exactly what's going on, but you feel the energy of what's going on.
Yeah.
And I've been feeling lately when that does happen, I've been to where I've had times where I just kind of felt like I was freezing.
Mm-hmm.
Like I didn't wanna I've just had those times where I felt like I was freezing, and that's what it's something I'm trying to work through. Because I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, I don't want to freeze. I'd rather just say, hey, I'm feeling this. But
Yeah.
something like I'm like, I know I feel this, but if I say this, you gonna lie. I
Yes.
don't want to. I don't want to even. Because if you lie, that's gonna make me mad.
Oh yeah. If you lie, you gonna catch these hands.
You so silly. Or you trying to make me look like a fool? You know how some people try to make you feel like you're crazy,
Oh
and
yeah.
sometimes I don't even say nothing because I already know you're gonna lie. And
Baby.
I'm like,
Right.
this in the wrong company. Let me move around.
Yes.
Let me move around.
Yes. Oh yeah.
So after you at identifying with some of the triggers, because there's different times where you've been triggered. You could be triggered when when it's time to have a fight. You then got into it with somebody and you feel like you're triggered, or you being called a name you don't appreciate, and that triggers you. But after you identify the triggers and the symptoms that you have to know that you're triggered, then let's learn about some things that you should do next, because you want to identify your triggers. You want to identify what you normally do when you trigger so you can change it. That's
Yeah.
the only way you can change it. So we'll
Mm-hmm.
take a deeper look at that. I was doing I did a, what do you call that? A challenge with surviving vegan, Orisha O'Shawn over there. I know she's on Facebook and Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And I did a surviving vegan challenge with her, a detox. And
Yeah.
she brought out this thing called the cravings chart. Because a
Mm.
lot of times we're not just triggered in those ways that are just emotions. We're triggered, and sometimes we go to, it ain't always fighting or flighting. Sometimes it's you want to go to the refrigerator, you want to stop by the convenience store, or you stopping by the fast food restaurant, or you whatever, wherever they got something that you want, you going to get it. And so um she was saying that, you can tell what's going on with you by the types of food that you crave, sometimes on a daily basis. So she was saying, um
Yeah.
bready foods. I've had times where I felt like I wanted bready foods. And bready foods means you have feelings of either insecurity or or stress, and the sensation of eating bread helps to, bready foods, whether it's a honey bun, whether it's a cinnamon roll, whether it's, whatever type of bready stuff you like, or even if it's bread, sometimes you like them buttery rolls, them
Oh yeah.
yeast rolls. Um, it helps to relieve sight stress. And so that's the reason why you crave it. And you don't realize that when you're craving it, you're triggered by something. And it's so
Mm-hmm.
easy to eat these things that you don't realize that that was a trigger. And so
Yeah.
that you were experiencing that made you want it. But crunchy and chewy foods, it helps to relieve the pressure of anxiety and stress.
Mm.
Anxiety and stress. So when people real anxious and they want something chew, or they be chewing on that ice. You seen people chew ice
Oh,
a lot? Anxiety and stress.
girl. My grandpa used to tear up some ice.
My mom. My mom, I can chew it after a drink, but my mom used to have us go get ice. Like we would literally have to get in the car. Sometimes we went all the way across town to go get this shaved ice she liked because it
Oh,
was
wow.
softer on her teeth. Because she crunched ice for so many years, so she wanted something to be softer on her teeth because it can mess your teeth up. But then salty foods, even chips, they crunchy and salty, but salty, it redirects anger and aggression. So people notice if they have anger issues, you notice those people like really salty foods or salty and spicy foods. Spicy is about anger as well. Because a lot of times if it's spicy, it's got some good salt in it too.
Right.
So sweet. If you crave sweet things, you have issues with self-esteem, love, or self-love, self-worth, confidence, and showing or receiving love. You saying you experienced that?
Uh-oh, you froze, Quee.
Okay, we both was frozen. I was looking at you. You was froze like this. I'm like, let me give it a moment. And then the last one is creamy. Oh. Creamy foods soothes the need to feel nurtured or abandonment or loneliness or underappreciated or misunderstood. Oh, yes, wow. Ma'am.
That just triggered a memory for me, honey.
See? And see, with me, one of my cravings, number one, I can crave any of these. I've had a problem with any of these at times because it'll be a trigger from back in the day. You don't realize that it just went by, but here it is. Yes. So sweet and creamy. Ice cream. Oh. I was loving me some ice cream. And every time I felt some type of way, I couldn't get something right, or I felt misunderstood, or I felt abandoned, or I felt lonely, or I felt unappreciated. Yes. Those are the type of things, or nurture, because I'm a nurturer. I nourish people a lot. I pour, I help. I'm always eager to help people. I know some people think it's because I think they can't do it right. And it's like, no, I just wanted to help, like literally, because I was here and I ain't have nothing else to do. Yes. I felt like I was watching you and you needed a little help because of you. And so, but anytime I don't feel appreciated in those things, it'll be some ice cream, and that's sweet and creamy.
Ooh,
that's sweet and creamy right there.
So much sense.
Okay, and then look, here we go. Add the cookies and cream. That's a crunchy cookie in there. That's boom. Now I got favorite. Now I got a little anxiety or stress I'm dealing with in there with it. Okay.
That is his favorite, girl.
Yeah, that's mine right there. My uncle turned me on when I was a little girl. He got that. First it was vanilla all the time, and we get the Oreos on the side. Yes. But then when I found out they had one that came with the Oreos in the ice cream, I was like, I never buy that stuff again. I'll never buy it again. Look, that's how it was. Let me put this charger in this phone. Kind of got it rigged so it'll sit up how I like it. Damn. Yes. And so I was talking to my daughter because she likes chips. She been liking chips since she was a little girl, and now they like them hot chips. Yes. And the listeners, we do know the damage of hot chips, but guess what? They want them.
They want them,
and once they get to a certain age, you can't just say you can't have it, because the allowance you give them, they going to get it. If they can't have it in front of you, they gonna get it when they at school. Right. If they don't have it at school, they gonna get it when they at their friend's house. If you don't give it to them, they cousins, they aunties, uncles, dad, grandfather, grandma, whoever is gonna give it to them, unless you just a big control freak and you got everybody under your control and they respect you just that much. But now a lot of us, everybody don't have that. Everybody, listen, when I figured I couldn't control nobody else's house, I had to give in eventually. Yep. I needed a babysitter. Hey, well, guess what? I don't want her to have all this stuff, but they're going to have some of it. Got to get that immune system going, make sure that system working right. Right. So, yes. So, those are some of the cravings. So, okay, when you notice your cravings and what those cravings mean, then what you want to do from there is recall the first memory that you had. Because see, we're working on our triggers here. We're not just talking about triggers. We want to work on it. Like, what can we do to help ourselves when we are triggered?
Yes.
So one of the things you want to do is you notice your cravings, what the cravings mean. Then, like I said, recall that first memory that you had with that feeling. So when I said the ice cream feeling, maybe I'll say abandonment.
Mm-hmm.
I felt abandoned a lot as a child. I felt that way. I always felt abandoned when it came to my family. That's how
Mm-hmm.
I felt.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of things is not exactly how it is, but it's how you perceive the situation. And
Exactly.
so I felt abandoned. And also I wasn't raised in the same house as my younger sisters. And so that made me feel lonely because they weren't, they were raised in their households. And so what you do to recall, like I can recall this off the bat because I've done some of the work, but what you can do is you can access this through meditation. A lot of times when you trying to learn about a trigger, you don't know off the top of your head when is the first time you experienced that. So what
Right.
we had to do is we had to sit down and do some meditation. We had to sit down, cut everything off, unless you want to have some frequencies or sounds on. Uh, cut everything off and go inside and just sit there quiet enough to ask yourself that question. When is my first time I ever felt this? When's my first time I ever decided that I tasted ice cream? That was one thing that my grandma, she gave it to me. She loved bluebell ice cream. But when
Oh.
was the first time that I went to it and I craved it? What was I feeling?
Mm-hmm.
What made me do that? And I know it been the loneliness and the abandonment and the being misunderstood. And because I'm a very eccentric person. So a lot of times I'm misunderstood more than I'm understood. And
Yeah.
there's some people who understand me just right.
Yes.
But I had to go in and grab that and feel, when is it okay? So sweet and creamy means this. Okay, well, this right here, let me go back to it. Sweet and creamy, like we said, sweet deal with self-esteem, love, self-worth, confidence, showing or receiving love. So when was the first time I felt like the love wasn't right? I felt like you love me, but you weren't loving me right. You said you love me, but when I watched the love over here, this looked like love. And then when you showed me love, that didn't look like that. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? When was the first time I noticed that and felt that? So I had to
Right.
go to those first moments to help myself understand me and understand my movements in this world. What am I doing? What am I eating? Where am I taking myself? Am I being conscious of my actions?
Mm-hmm.
And then creamy, we said soothes the need for feeling nurtured, abandonment, loneliness, underappreciated, misunderstood. When was the times that I felt like that? And I could take that all the way back to elementary school. I could take that all the way back to having certain conversations with my mom as a kid
Yes.
and
Yeah.
her not understanding the way I'm so forthcoming, straightforward, straight to the point, and her not understanding that. And it's just, you didn't even tell me, you didn't put no filter on it, you didn't let me know that you was
I
gonna ask me this.
know.
And it just, hold on, girl, this ain't even, you ever plugged your charger up and you didn't have it plugged in?
Yes.
Girl, please. Wait a minute, let me fix that. Okay, there we go. I'm like, the red is still on, and I don't see a little, what is that, the little
Charge. Charge.
yeah,
Yes.
that lightning bolt. I'm like, the lightning bolt is not there. It is definitely gonna cut off on us. But so that's what you do. Sometimes you gotta meditate so you can get in there. And I mean, this is when you really about that healing work. This is what it takes. You gotta get to yourself and be real and honest with yourself. You know
Yeah.
what? I ain't never triggered. Don't nothing bother me. I'm just plowing through life. Don't nothing. I mean, yeah, sometimes stuff get to you and you don't realize that it got to you until we sit down and talk to you about these things and you be like, oh.
Or until you exploded on somebody or popped off or uh broke something, moved.
Mm-hmm. And you understand that there was a trigger and you don't know how to handle your triggers. So
Yeah.
so you won't explode on nobody. We're going to help you find out, you know, what to do when you are triggered. So when you meditate and sit down, you want to journal your findings. You don't want to go through trying to find that type of healing and not journal the things that you're experiencing, because you'll never know how you got yourself through it. So when you get to the next trigger, because once you heal one, it's another one waiting on you. Hi, what about this one? You know, what about that one? You
Absolutely.
didn't even know that you was gonna be triggered, but what about that one? I can remember when I was in about the 10th grade, we got into a head-on collision.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we were driving our little El Dorado, little nice little rag top. It was the little nicest thing. Everybody was talking about it at the school. And I even went to my little first military ball in it. But we got into a head-on collision, and I flew from the back seat to the front seat under the pedals. I was headed out the window. I was
Ooh.
headed out, but my spirit team was with me, honey.
Thank
They pushed me right down because I was headed out the window. My uncle actually hit the window. Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
And do you know, I was already driving at that point. I've been driving since I was 14.
Mm-hmm.
And for the longest time, to get back behind the wheel, because I had my own car at that age,
Mm-hmm.
to get back behind the wheel, every time I was driving, I could only imagine I was driving like I was ready for somebody to hit me head on. Like it just driving triggered me.
Mm-hmm.
But in that time, I didn't know how to talk to somebody about my triggers, and then I didn't want nobody to say, well, maybe you don't need to drive. I liked my freedom.
Right.
Have it. So I wouldn't dare tell my granny that, oh my gosh, I'm scared when I'm out here driving. Because well, maybe you should just no,
Yes.
don't take me. Take me behind the wheel. I wanna whip it, you know. I wanna whip it and dip
Yes.
it. That's
I
how.
know, right.
So I put down here, and whichever way you express that trigger that you've got to make, you know, in whichever way you express that trigger, I should have put a comma. You've
Mm-hmm.
got to make a conscious effort to break up with that, break up with your with the we'll say the craving.
Yes.
You've got to shed light on on the negative attributes that come with it. And so let's talk about this ice cream, baby, because I'm telling you that sweets, period, is a thing that once I get a taste of one,
Yes.
I want them all. I'm
Yes.
not a big, I'm not a big candy person, but if I get a candy that I like what was it last year? Twix. Oh my God. I
Ooh.
was king size Twix all summer. And I had some king size love handles to go with it.
I love you,
I
Queen. I'm like,
did. I was like, what are they?
what are these?
It just snuck
Yeah.
back up on me. Look. But you have to okay, so you got to break up with it. So it looks like what breaking up with it looks like this. Dang, I like them Twix. But every time I eat them, I swear it's another notch on the side of my dang side. I mean, it's good. These love handles getting bigger and bigger. Or dang, I'm feeling a little sluggish. I can't do nothing. Dang. You know, I'm tired all the time. Or, you know, so you have to think about, well, what is that unhealthy habit that you have doing to you?
Yes.
So you got to look at it in a negative light instead of saying, "Ooh, a Twix show would be good right
Be
now."
right now.
He like, nah, because it's probably
Yeah.
gonna kill me.
I always look at it
Wait a
like
minute, cavity. Look,
this is gonna take me away from my kids. This is gonna take me away from my husband. Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's beautiful. That's beautiful right there. See, yes, see, you get it right there. And so, such as okay, well, another thing is like running when you're triggered. I've had moments where I was triggered and I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do at this moment. So I think I'm gonna leave.
Yeah. Oh,
I'm gonna
girl.
leave because I don't even like the way this looking. Let me just leave. But instead, if you run and you don't face that trigger, you'll have to. That opportunity is gonna keep on coming, and you just gonna keep on running because you never learned how to face it. And I asked somebody, I had a sister. I dealt with something. I had a sister. I still got her. My sister. I was dealing with something a couple of years ago, and I packed up everything and I just left. It was business wise. I just left. I was like, yeah, what? You can have it. I'm
Mhm.
talking about shut the business down, put it in the storage, left town. I
Mm-hmm.
was like, I don't want to see nothing of nobody I know. Let me just go out here, because it bothered me so bad that my inner child was screaming, and
Yes.
I didn't know how to console her. And
Mm-hmm.
I knew that it was all my fault, because whatever red flags I saw, I was like,
Yes.
you know what I'm saying? So listen, I don't even like folk. Listen, I didn't ask for this. I already said that I didn't want to do no more ice cream or none of that. And she don't know I'm not even finna eat it. You said ice cream like I said ice cream 1,000 times, but do you know that it took so much to knock that 40 pounds back off?
Yes.
I ain't going running if I eat that. And so, I ran. I didn't face it. And my
Mm-hmm.
sister, I love my sisters. I really, really do, because I know what I do for them, but I don't think they know what they do for me.
Yes.
Sometimes they just don't know what they do for me. And I'm like, well, maybe I need to do a better job at telling them what they do for me. But she said, what are you gonna do? Run every time something like this happens?
Mm.
And my sisters, they're younger than me. But I mean, we all out here grown in our 30s now, and we live in life. And so they can't have a wise sister and not be wise. You can't live life and get some type of wisdom from learning from your mistakes, learn
Absolutely.
from other people's mistakes. And so, and I mean, I've made plenty for them to learn from. So I'm like, you need to take some notes, damn it. Help a sister out sometime. But I mean, you know, they looked at me to help them too, but they be helping me too. But yeah,
Yes.
she was like, what you gonna do? Keep running? You gonna
Mm-hmm.
let a person run you out from everywhere? Like, what you gonna do with this? And I
Right.
was like, oh, she made a whole bunch of sense. But she said that before I ran, and I still ran. I still ran. I was like, I ain't trying to hear none of that. But I
Mm-hmm.
understood. I
Yeah.
understood what she said, but I had to run because I didn't know how to work with that trigger. And I saw something bad that was gonna come out of me. I saw some type of, I was like, oh, I don't even want to see what this gonna look like. I'm good. I'm a go.
There, there's nothing wrong with retreating and regrouping,
I had to
okay, and
retreat and regroup.
revamping.
I had to take a hiatus, and I came
Yeah.
back fine. I came back
Yes.
good.
That's how I am too. Bigger, better than ever.
Yeah,
Okay.
detoxing. I was doing everything while I was like, let me just, I
Because
came
so much,
lighter.
yeah, so much comes out of the quietness, the stillness, the regrouping, the recharging, the hermit mode. Sometimes we really do. We have to go into that,
Mm-hmm.
go within and address those issues. Like, I wish, obviously, we out here standing on business. Okay, so setting healthy boundaries and not people pleasing, but you can do all that, but sometimes you have to bring it on in, bring it back, go deep down. Like we said, you were felt that your inner child was triggered and hurt. You couldn't really do anything to console, but in that peace, in that quietness, in that stillness, you can support her and support the grown up at the same time, healing and naturing and nurturing
Mm-hmm.
in the running away. You know what I'm saying? Because that's me. Because I'd be the first one to bah! And now I'm like,
Mm-hmm. Mm.
and I
That's
do what I
good.
gotta do, and then I'm back. But that doesn't always mean get mad or we can't go from where we left off. I'm a Pisces. We do this a lot. And then when I come back, people are like, oh, where you come from? I'm back, bitch.
Okay, quit playing before I leave. I'm here.
Yeah, I'm here. What's up? What's good?
Yes. And so, we talked about the triggers. We talked about the different ways to realize that you're triggered, whether it be something that's happened physically, something that's happened emotionally. Um, we also talked about the different foods that you may crave for when you are triggered, and also how to find out, how to sit down and meditate, get still, get peaceful with that. So this is what you do next. You want to create a trigger management plan. Okay. And I'm going to tell you how to do that. So what you'll do is you pick one of your triggers. Pick one of them. When I was in Surviving Vegan, we picked 3.
Mm-hmm.
Pick 3, pick one. Start with one, okay? Start with one of your triggers, and then you create 10 steps that you'll do when you notice that you've been triggered, okay? So it'll look like this. Step 1, excuse yourself and get to a quiet place. Get to a quiet place right quick so you can bring it on back in, okay? Ground yourself. I don't care if you got to go outside and hug a tree, put your feet in the ground, whether you got to, sit down and do a grounding mudra, whatever else that to ground yourself, do that. Whether you got to pick up one of your black crystals and sit down, pick one.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing you can do is affirm yourself. I am safe. I am centered. I am okay. I love myself. I am supported. Whatever you got to say.
Root chakra affirmations.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah.
mm-hmm. Protect your energy. Whether you have to envision any color light you want to put around you. All the different colors mean different things. You can do a purple light. You can do a purple flame all around you. You can make it a circle. You can make it a triangle. You can make it a square. Whatever you're comfortable with, whatever your first mind goes to, that's your space. And so I like triangles and circles. My main triangle. You can do that, whether you want it to be a red one, whether you want it to be a purple one, whether you want it to be a green one. Imagine it surrounding you, or whether you want to put up a shield of all of the colors, a whole rainbow surrounding you. You can do that as well. They all help. They all work. It's all about you and what you believe. You are the one who makes everything in this life real. It's not real because they said it was real. It's real because you made it real. So you can do that. You can do some breath work.
That's me.
You know how you hear those people counting? You know how you ever seen somebody before we even did any of this work? You see somebody and they're like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Somebody's counting and you realize they're triggered and they're giving themselves 10 seconds to get it back together. That's trigger management right there. And we never even known, what it really was, but that's trigger management. They're trying to manage their triggers, and that's one of the things they went to. Another thing you can do, go wash your hands with some cold water. Cold.
Uh-oh. You are bluffering bad, boo.
Am I bluffering?
Can you repeat what you were just saying about the counting?
Oh,
Because
when
you're froze, boo.
am I still frozen or am I okay?
Shoot.
About now.
Shoot. I don't know if you guys can hear me as well.
I can hear you.
Okay, I think you're back.
Okay. Yeah, because you're kind of back.
Okay. I don't know, it just kept cutting out and pausing.
Okay. So what about now? How we doing?
Okay. The last thing that before it got too choppy was about when the people were counting. They were counting from 10.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, people are counting from 10 or counting up to 10. Either one of those, you didn't realize, but they were trying to manage a trigger. They were triggered. And a lot of times, let me just say,
Uh-oh.
okay. Girl, why they hating on us?
Do you have your Wi-Fi on?
Yeah, my Wi-Fi is on. Like, okay, let me see.
Uh-huh.
Now let me put it on. Oh no, never mind. My personal Wi-Fi is on. Let me cut it off. I got my personal Wi-Fi on. Let me cut it back. I don't need it anymore.
Shoot.
What about now? How we doing? Am I better? Am I better?
Oh, I can hear you good, but I just can't see you.
You can't see me. You got to put that in the freezer.
Yeah, you're just like still. I can hear you good though.
Okay, you can hear me good. Okay, well, I mean, I can guess I can keep talking since you can hear me. I guess that'll be good, right?
Now you sound like a robot.
Oh no,
I can hear. Okay, I'm so sorry.
that's
Yeah,
okay. We didn't invent this, not directly. We did not even invent this.
yeah.
Let me find out they don't want us to help people with their triggers.
That's what it must be, honey. That's
So
what it must be. But we helping, we healing and helping, honey.
we have to, because the only way we can heal and stop destroying ourselves is to realize when we're triggered and find what to do about it so we can evolve. Because if you still responding the same way to the same trigger that you was responding like that when you was 12 and you 40, we got a
Yes,
problem.
we got big
And if you're
problems.
easily and if you can't control your emotions, you're easily controlled. And I don't know
Absolutely.
about you, but I don't like nobody to control me but me.
Yep, that's on period.
That's on period. And another thing I wanted to say is when you're triggered, a lot of us have different triggers, and I know I got many. I'm not gonna just because I've learned so much, and I'm not the expert here. I'm giving you the notes of what I've learned. But just because I've learned all these things doesn't mean that I'm never triggered and that I got it all under control. Now I'm still working on it. And so the next thing I want to say is that you cannot expect everyone to tiptoe around your triggers. I had to learn that last year.
Yes.
I was very triggered. I had some things re-enter my life that haven't been a part of my life in a long time, at least 30 years. And
Hmm.
I didn't know my experience with it 30 years ago wasn't the best. And so I was triggered and I was trying to get other people to make the adjustments for my triggers.
Yeah.
And they was like, the hell with that shit. And I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, I got, you can't help us. Okay. And then I had to realize I'm asking you, if I ask you to tiptoe around my triggers, I'll never get a handle on it. I'll never be able to help myself out, because they're not gonna do that for me out in the world everywhere I go. Everybody ain't gonna stop so I can be okay. So I had to make myself be okay. I had to work
True.
on myself. And so what I was saying is, when they do the counting, that's a form of trigger. Some people wear a rubber band and they I wish I would. I'm not doing that. I don't like to hurt myself. So, but that works for some people. That's probably anger right there. They got some anger issues and I don't have bad anger issues. And so
And
I
they
don't
being hurt as a child probably when the people were getting angry at them and then lashing out and hurting them.
yeah. And
Hmm.
so they want to lash out and hurt people. And so they remember not to do that. And so there's one. What I said after that, I think is did I say washing your hands? Did I tell you?
You had just started on that one, yeah.
Okay. So washing your hands with cold water, because cold water is shocking. You want
Hmm.
to shock the nervous system. So washing your hands with cold water or splashing cold water on your face. You gotta help that thought, because sometimes you're in a place where you need to get something done right at that moment and then keep going. You're not always at a moment where you can sit down and take all this time to meditate. And so that is one of the things you can do. And then Reiki masters, here's one for me and you and all the Reiki masters that are here now. Um, Hit yourself with some of that chakra. Sit down
Yeah.
and put some of your Reiki symbols on yourself. Because we have little things that we can do to help us with a little tune up, right? Okay, chakra, right? There you go, right there, baby. Yeah, I don't have one. I don't have one of those.
You
I would
one.
like one of those.
I'm gonna send you some.
Hey, I would like some of those. Look, but yes, you can hit yourself with some of your Reiki because that chakra is that healing that power symbol right there that's gonna help you get all that negative energy off of you right quick.
Yes.
Or you can pray. Some people pray. Some people are not just spiritual. Well, praying is spiritual too. So some people pray. And you can pray. That's okay. Because really all of this stuff you do, if you affirm yourself, if you're doing any of these things where you're talking or anything, that's praying anyway. You're still praying. And so you can take a shower if you at home, you at the gym, any of those things, you can go ahead and take you a shower. You can do that. You can meditate, like we said.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I done stopped and balanced all my chakras. Now that takes some time. So
It
you got
does.
time for that. But you can meditate or you can call in your spirit team.
I was
You
just
can
about
call,
to say, I call them
yeah.
in real quick. I'm like,
Hey, okay, whether you calling on archangels, benevolent ancestors, ascended masters, whoever you need, it depends on how deep the situation is. I need all my archangels here right now.
right
You know what I'm saying?
now. Yeah.
Whatever it is, call them in, man. Call them in. Call them in.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something you can do when you're designing your trigger management plan. And so with that, after that, okay, after you develop your trigger management plan, because you're gonna pick you a couple of triggers to do that, but after determining the 10 steps that you want to take for your trigger management plan, you got to implement rewards and repercussions. Okay,
Mm.
because you when you do the work, you got to reward yourself because this is big. To learn how to manage a trigger is big.
Oh yes.
To take, I look at it as the Titanic. Say you on a Titanic, or you say you on a big boat and you want to make it do a U-turn.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that. And ain't no U-turns with.
Right.
And so with this, you're making a U-turn because it's something you can do, but it does not work just one time. It's something you have to create this new step for yourself, that this is what I go to instead of being triggered and being mad, angry, sad, depressed, stressed, anxious. What can I do instead of that? What can I do when I feel that type of stuff coming on? So what it can look like is a reward. You can use a spa day. That can be, look, I don't know, this little piece of hair look like it's out of place, honey. It could be a spa day. I know. I'm working on my perfectionism because
you,
nothing is really
you,
ever perfect. Well, we're already perfect, but the sense of perfect that we call in this world is not real. And
yeah.
so I be trying to work on it because it can hold you back. And has. But you can do a spa day. You can say, you know what? I went through my 10 steps. I was able to respond differently than I normally respond. I feel good about that. I'm going to King Spa. I'm going to Spa Castle. That's what we got out here.
Oh
I'm going to one of these places, girl, and it's a very nice place. I'm getting a massage. I'm getting the sugar scrub. I'm
oh.
getting the facial. I'm getting
Mm.
the yoni steam. Whatever.
Yeah.
I'm getting the works. I might even get my nails and my toes done while I'm out there. I'm getting the works.
I want all
You
of
can
that.
do that. Exactly. Or you can just say, I'm gonna enjoy all of the things that they have and some of the meals that they have too, because they got some healthy meals there and they're good. Girl,
Oh.
went out there and got me a carrot and apple mixed together. I was like, oh my gosh, this is life.
What?
What is that?
Go ahead, Queen.
Girl, but I learned as a surviving vegan, you ain't supposed to mix your vegetables with your fruit, but whatever. That was good. I'm not perfect. I can't do it all. Well, I can't say. Don't let me not say can't. What about
Yeah.
sour?
Yeah.
Okay.
Danielle, what
Sour.
about sour?
Let me go back. Let me go look at sour. It's there. Because sour's gonna fall under. I'm gonna say that's gonna fall under salty. That's gonna fall under salty. So that's gonna be anger and aggression. Do you ever notice you have any anger issues? You notice any anger that has it's unexpressed anger? A lot of times you got anger that you didn't express. I got a
Hmm.
lot of times that I should have really gave a person a piece of my mind, or they probably
Absolutely.
should have caught these hands and they didn't get it.
Yep.
Get it. And I hurt my own feelings because I didn't give it to
That's okay because the
them.
spirit team got them.
I learned. You know what? You know how I look at those situations, because I've looked at those things when I was growing up. Things that I should have, that I felt like, oh, I should have just gave you the business, and I didn't. And I looked at it as if the amount of rage that I felt inside of me was coming from a place that wasn't just meant for you. Was from things that I felt in the past as well. And what I would have gave you possibly could have, I could have hurt you indefinitely.
Oh yes.
I could have made it to where it was so bad that the retaliation was gonna be even worse. I could have hurt you so bad that every time you see me, it was war. I could have created a war, and all that anger wasn't even meant for you.
Right.
And a lot of times that stopped me from dealing with people in those ways, because all that anger wasn't meant for you. You didn't deserve all that anger, or you did at that moment. And my spirit team saved you by just having me turn the other look. But I would that person that was speaking with us, was it Danielle? It was Danielle somebody. That's my little sister's name.
Aw.
Yeah, that's my
Danielle,
little
my friend.
Danny Pooh. Oh, hi, friend. So, what did she say about the anger issues? Did she say that she
She's,
may have unexpressed
she said,
anger?
what about sour?
Okay, girl, we need you to come in again. I done gave you the answer. Cause sour gotta go with salty.
Yeah.
They in the same group.
Mm-hmm. I'll tell you, for me, like, one of my triggers that I'm working on right now is my kids. So you guys know I'm a stay-at-home homeschooling mom of 3. And I didn't grow up in a household with siblings. My brother's 13 years older than me, and he lived with his mom. So it's very nerve-wracking for me when my kids are having a completely normal experience from what Jarvis says it is. They fight a lot. And I'm like always trying to put out these little fires. But I notice when they are just going at it, all of a sudden I just want to eat.
Mm.
Like, and so for me, I'm like, why am I doing this? Because I'm on a weight loss journey. You know, I'm a big in my back.
Hey.
And I'm like, I cannot, this is not conducive to what I'm trying to do for my health to keep me around for these little squabbles. Okay. And
Hey.
so I'm like, what is this? And I remember growing up, and there was that fighting and bickering and going back and forth and pick a side, choose a side. I'm right, they're wrong. I'm right, they're wrong, whatever. And I was in the middle of that. And that's what I would do as a kid
Mm-hmm.
to stay out of it, to stay occupied. If I'm occupied doing this,
Mm-hmm.
then I can't say nothing. Then I don't have to make a decision. I don't have to pick a side. Like, I don't have to be involved.
Mm.
So
So it's
now,
part of.
yeah. So now, as my 38-year-old self, I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, say what you need to say, try to, keep the peace, but then go do something productive.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I told Kui, I started stretching,
Mm-hmm.
or I'll go clean,
Mm-hmm. It's nice.
or I pretend I'm blowing bubbles. I'm like, oh, oh.
That's breath work.
Yes.
That's breath work.
So just trying to recognize it, like Quee said, going back to like when I first kind of can remember that. And it takes time because sometimes you don't get it right that day. You don't get it right that week. It takes time. And you're going to eat the stuff and you're going to do the stuff and you're going to, exhibit the toxic behaviors and emotions. And that's okay. That is okay. But just like, Quee saying, addressing it and just going back and going within is the biggest thing to take away from it. And sometimes you have to excuse yourself, take some time, take space away from people. Don't answer the phone calls, don't answer the texts. It doesn't, once again, like, it doesn't mean that you don't care about the people, but you have to care about yourself first to be present and available and good for other people, the people that deserve it, by the way.
You can't pour from an empty cup.
And I'll eat the spicy sometimes because I'm like, why? I don't understand why. I know this is part of their spirit, the things that they signed up for. That's like a them thing, even though I brought the life forward. They have to figure that out. Their soul's mission is to figure that whole thing out between them, But it makes me angry, and so I'm like, oh, is it me? Am I doing something wrong? And so I'll eat something spicy, Or I just want to, parents be like, oh, you guys fighting? You gonna hug each other until you like each other.
Ooh, girl, my granny used to make us do that.
I never did it. I hated that. When I heard that, I was like, no. But then I'll find myself, I want them to be sweet to each other, so I'm over here eating something sweet. So yeah. Identify.
That's so cute. Yeah, but you know what? That really works. I hated it. My grandma, she would make me and my little sister. I have a little sister that we were the fighting sisters. We fought like cats and dogs. It was crazy. Now we were taught how to go at each other, but we fought like cats and dogs, and it followed us into our adulthood. But when I was a kid, my grandma, when we were around her, she wasn't perfect. But one of the things that she said is that that's your sister. And, she wanted us to love each other no matter what our differences were, no matter what the odds were against us. She wanted us to love each other. And she made us hug. And I was so mad at her. I didn't want to hug her.
Yeah.
We hugged until we laughed. Like we were first, but all of a sudden we finished that out and we were laughing and we were happy with each other. And I was like, how the hell did that happen?
Maybe I'll try it.
It works because at the end of the day, all you have left is love. You can be mad, but once the smoke clears, you love each other. And if there is love, if you actually love each other, then that's what'll be there at the end once the smoke clears. And with that, sister, I'll let y'all know that one of the things that her and I agreed on is that because like I told you, our fighting followed us into adulthood. I think once we got older, we're both powerful. She's a Cancer, I'm a Taurus. And so we're neck and neck with the power right there. And we're also very highly compatible with each other. And I didn't say competitive, I said compatible with each other. And so one thing that I spoke with her about, I said, can we make sure that when we get mad at each other, we don't have an audience? Is it okay if I pull you to the side? Because we got these egos and they big. Can I pull you to the side so that we can actually discuss this stuff amongst each other? Because when it's just us, it don't get that bad. But when we got an audience, it would, it get pretty bad. So I was like, let me put you to the side and we can really talk about it, and I can just kind of give you my feelings, because sometimes you might be understanding, big sis, and I'd rather for you to understand where I'm coming from than to misunderstand, because a lot of everybody's perception is their reality. It's not whatever you really mean, it's whatever their perception is, whatever they feel, whatever they thought when you look this way, talk this way, made a gesture, whatever that they felt like you meant, is what's real to them, and you can't convince them otherwise, especially when they got
Mm.
an audience. And even when you pull them to the
Yeah.
side, it's not a guarantee that you can convince them otherwise, but at least you won't have an audience, and y'all can kind of ground, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So
That
that
makes sense.
that helps us. Unless you want to let me pull it to the side, then I'm just gonna leave. I don't have time. I don't have time. Your ego too big. I'm just gonna leave. No, wait. I'm not mad at you anymore because you didn't let me pull you to the side. So, okay. So I talked about the reward for your trigger. You can do a spa day. I don't care what you do. I don't care if you take a trip, baby, take a trip.
Yes.
Go wherever you want to. I don't care if you go all the way to Greece. That's your reward. Give it to you. You want to go to Greece? I
Yeah.
want to go. I want to go to Greece. It was always Dubai. Before I knew about Dubai, it was New York. I don't know why I was New
Mm.
York, but it was New York. Then I was like, I want to go to Dubai. And then I was like, okay, Greece. I want to go to Greece so we can get in the boat because they got the streets okay. I want to do that. But so the repercussion. Now I want you to remember when you are using a repercussion for your actions, you are healing. And so you have to be gentle with yourself. You have to handle yourself with love. You've already been beat up by the world, so you don't want to beat yourself up. You got to be soft with yourself. And if anybody, have had to learn that the most.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
so a week away from social media, you know what I'm saying? A week away from your favorite food, you know, a week of doing, I don't know, extra exercising or some whatever you decide. I can't decide that from you. I put a week away from social media because I like it to scroll so much, looking at all these educational and spiritual things that
Oh
can
my
help
gosh. Yeah.
me throughout my day. And don't let me find somebody with some tarot cards. What you say, girl? What's the message? Who coming tomorrow? Look,
Absolutely.
wait a minute. Did you say I am God's gift to the earth? Yeah, say it again. Look, stuff that make you stroke your ego, make you feel good, lift your spirit for the day,
Yep.
and stuff. I like to take good stuff in so I can push good stuff out because you deal with a lot, especially when you get triggered. So I'm like, I gotta have something good to give these people, you know.
Yeah.
And so that's that. And what else did I want to say? I have one last thing. And I put now that I've shared with you today some of the first steps you can take to manage some of your triggers. These are the first steps you can take. It's not all. But this is the first steps you can take and help you that can help you. But I want you to be aware that these triggers are coming from unresolved traumas from your past, and the resolutions mentioned today are only surface level. This is only part of the solution. It's not the whole solution. That's only part of it. We can get you, this right here can start the work. But true healing is needed beneath the surface, and you'll need a spiritual doctor from that. And that's where you find your Reiki masters. That's where you find your shamans. Look, wait for the Reiki masters. But both me and Jamillah are Reiki masters. So that's where you find that. That's where you find a shaman. You do your chakra specialist. Hey, I'm a chakra specialist as well. Hypnotherapist, any energy healers can help you with that, especially a lot of energy healers are dealing with the chakras. A lot of times we're dealing with those chakras because the chakras are what hold the memory of those past traumas. They
Yes.
hold it, and it's inside your body, and it affects your aura, then it gets into your chakras. Once it gets into your chakras, it's starting to mess with different organs of the body systems. It's a process.
Mm-hmm.
But listen, when you don't heal, it's going to reveal itself, and it reveals itself in your diseases, because disease is dis-ease in the body. It can start with being dis-ease spiritually, then
Yeah.
it's mental,
Yep.
then it's emotional,
Yep.
then it's physical.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so these are the things you can do, and there's so many other certified specialists that can help you other than what I mentioned today. So you got to do your due diligence.
Yeah, do your research, baby.
Do your research.
Absolutely. Sound healing, healing vibrations, herbalists, all the things, essential oils, okay?
Okay, aromatherapy.
Reflexology. Wait, what the thing with the needles, the acupuncture.
Acupuncture, right.
There's so many avenues, so many.
Okay, it
You,
is.
this is only triggers lesson one, okay? Lesson one, okay? So we can have this is the jump off. This is the jump off or the reboot. So if you're just starting your healing journey and you want to tap into triggers and do the things, this is lesson one. Okay. If you feel like you haven't been keeping up with your triggers practice, okay, this is for you too. All right.
Definitely for me, because I got some I was not keeping up with. I'm like, baby, how many times do I'm not supposed to be on social media? Like you did not go through your steps. So yeah, this talking with this about y'all also helps me hold myself accountable.
Me too. Me too. Oh, girl. Yeah, I've been experiencing a lot of new triggers that I'm addressing and trying to go back in and figure it out. Blink, 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 blink. But yes, you know what, Quee? Thank you so much for being here again with me.
Thank you for having me.
And I appreciate everybody that got on with us. We appreciate you so much. And once again, this is only lesson one. Okay, give us some feedback in the comments. All of Quee's information where you can find her is in the description box. Okay, make sure you give her a follow over on IG because that's where you are right now. Instagram.
I'm mostly on IG.
Mar to the Quee.
Mm-hmm.
Ma to the Quee. Mar to the Quee.
Mar
Which
to
one?
baby, Mar to the Queen. Marquisia. So it's just Mar to the Queen.
Yes, so
Mar to
beautiful.
the Queen.
And I love having you here. And thank you again, girl. We did it. Okay,
Thank you. We did. We did. We shared what we had, baby. And who
yes,
that was for, they'll get it.
they'll get it. That's on period. Okay, put this on the replay. Replay it as much as you need it. Okay.
And
All
take
right, you
some
guys.
notes.
Go ahead. Go quick.
No, I said, and take some notes, girl.
And take some notes. Yeah, you got to take these good notes. But we gonna see you next week, you guys.